Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus right here on Capital. Good morning to you, Kudzie. How was your weekend?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Great. Let's begin by looking at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, the trading update of Friday.
Thank you, Tinashe. I think it was more of a mixed bag, but the gains that were are more pronounced than the losses. However, the losses are of big cap companies like your heavyweights on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So we ended up with a top 10 index dropping by marginal 0.01%. And then the all-share index, is all the companies that are listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange together. That's the index, which was up by 0.56%. The top 10 index is made up of the top companies by market capitalization. And you remember our financial terms, market capitalization is the value of the company listed on the ZSE. So, so the top 10 companies by size in terms of value, we're however down by 0.01%. Just looking at the top risers and fallers, GB Holdings continue to record some gains there, up by 15.12%. That's the company that is now led by Joseph Gunda. That's the new CEO there. Then First Mutual Property also positive, up by 15%. Tenal up by 14.86%. I think I saw somewhere where the MD for Tenal resigned. So there have been a lot of management turnover at Tenal. I'm not sure what's really happening with that company. It has never had stability at the helm since the likes of the former MD John Jerry left Tenal. It has not had a good in terms of management there. And then Kafka, which is now led by former Zimplau CEO Vimbaina Kuchka, also positive by 13.33%. And then you have FBC, which is now led by Trinos Kufaznei, following the departure of John Mushawan to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. So Trinos Kufaznei is now at the helm of FBC. It is up by 11.29%. That's FBC. Then on the downside, the biggest loser was CBZ. CEO there is Lawrence Nyazema, the president of the Bankers Association of Zimbabwe, down by 3.64%. And then you have Mikos also easing by 1.07%. Other companies that were in the negative territory, Wildell, Ariston, and Econet, but by less than 1%, in terms of losses. Wildell is one of the few companies on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange that is in the negative territory year to date since the beginning of the year. So that's how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange performed yesterday. On Friday, rather. On Friday. Yeah.
Okay, and how did VFX did?
Yeah, VFX was in the negative territory, down by 0.86%, with Simbisa Brands pulling the market down there with a 1.85% drop. Padenga was, however, positive, up by 8.41%. And then talking about the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, we saw on Friday the listing of Invictus Energy. You know, that company that has discovered gas and oil in Muzarabani area. They are now listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, which means that local firms or local individuals are now able to buy those shares locally. You could buy them before on the Australia Stock Exchange, where they are listed. They are primarily listed, but now they have some shares that are listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, and local institutions can now invest in that, depending on whether those who recently bought, because it was done through what is known as a private placement. A private placement is whereby shares are sold through what is known as through that private placement outside the listing platform. So you can buy and sell shares when they are listed on a stock market, but you can also buy and shares outside the listing platform, which is the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. So these shares that we are talking about that were listed on Friday on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange were, however, sold before listing on the stock exchange through a private placement. And Zimbabweans might want to know that the Zimbabwean government is taking serious this investment in Muzarabani. And Mutapa Investment Fund, which is the country's sovereign wealth fund, invested about $5 million that they invested into this gas and oil in Muzarabani. So our government is taking this project seriously. Some still do not believe whether there is gas at all or oil at Muzarabani. But also another good thing about this project, Tinashe, is that they are actually talking about what is known as a petroleum production sharing agreement. So this once they start producing oil or gas, the money does not all belong to Invictus Energy. Government will actually have a stake as they are negotiating for a production sharing agreement where the Zimbabwean government, apart from what they will earn through Mutapa investment funds and other investments vehicles, the government will also share in terms of the oil. Maybe they might say whatever 60% or 50% or 40% or whatever ratio that they agree on of the oil revenues from that project will belong to the Zimbabwean government. So I think that's a positive development. We always hear that we are not benefiting as much from our resources. Why? Because in the past, like if a private company, like what has happened in the lithium sector, for example, if a private company comes here, get the exploration license, and then they discover whatever the minerals, they start production. The minerals belong to that private company that has risked its capital to mine those resources, and what the government can benefit from is through royalties or through corporate taxes, obviously through also the pay as you earn when the workers of these institutions earn some money. So those are the taxes that they benefit, but the minerals belong to the private player. But in this case now, there is actually a production sharing agreement that will be signed to say whatever is discovered, whatever is mined, whatever is sold, the Zimbabwean government actually has a share out of that. So that's a good thing about this Muzarabani project and oil and gas project. And the good thing again is that they are now listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. For those who want these shares, they can now go. I'm not sure if any institution that recently bought is ready to sell again, but eventually I would want to see individuals, what we know as retail investors. I think again back to our financial term of the day, a retail investor, these are now individuals. Kunema institutional investors like your pension funds, your insurance houses, and private equity that can buy and sell shares. But when you talk of retail investors, shares, and I always get my messages on my social media platforms on Facebook or on Twitter with people asking me to say, I know we had you on Business Focus. How do I go about it also buying shares on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? Which is very easy. You can go to the website of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. They are what are known as stock brokers. Again, another back to our financial term of the day. Stock brokers, these are the institutions and the individuals that are licensed to buy shares on your behalf. So you can go to the website of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, or the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, get the contact details of these stock brokers, and you get in touch with them so that you can open an account with them. But because we are in the digital era again, Tinashe, things are now done online. So you can also find what is known as the ZSC Direct or the C-Trade platform. You can find it online, or it is as an application, which again you can actually open your account. You can all you need to make sure is that on your phone you already have your ID, your proof of residence, your you don't need a bank statement. You also need your your photo ID, passport size photo rather, that you need in your phone, so that when you are then prompted to say, okay, upload your photo, upload your ID, you can upload. So they have to be in your phone or on your computer, and you can actually open your account at home Even as we speak, you can just go and look for those applications online, or just the www.zscdirect.co.zw or www.ctrade.co.zw. You can actually open your account while sitting at home. But I would advise that you also go through a stockbroker. Why? Because you then get financial advice, you can get their research reports, and you can get investment guidelines so that you can do it professionally. Yeah, because it's not gambling. You need to know what you are doing, although it's simple. And in fact, I think the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange has got another platform, called www.zsc training, where you can actually, they've got my modules that you can learn on your own at home. What are shares, how do companies list, how do I benefit from being listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and things like that. So that's
I think one of these fine days we should invite representatives from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange.
Yes.
To come and school a couple of people here.
Yes, that's fine. We can do that. We'll see whom we are going to invite. We still have an outstanding invitation to Miss Ndoro from Deribot. We'll find out if she's still available. Remember, she was supposed to come last week. So we'll find out if she's still available, or maybe if not, then maybe we can get in touch with Justin Bond just to tell us some of the initiatives that they are having at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Capital markets are very important in a country, Tinashe, so that we are able to, companies, firms can be able to borrow money, and also capital markets then allows for those who might have invested, like I'm saying, pane vanhu vakatenga mashares eInvictus through a private placement, but when they want to exit, it must be easy. That's why it's now listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. When they want to get their money back, they can easily sell those shares.
All right, Kudzie, thank you so much for that update. If you have questions to do with business for the next 10 minutes, you can drop them up on our 0719 100404. That is our studio WhatsApp number. Kudzie, ne Friday ndimagaenda udisco kaime. Remember
disco music,
Disco Skill, Dinson Iron and Steel Company.
Disco.
Give us an update from
It's funny that they, used to have Disco Steel. So these guys, I've seen even on their Twitter handle, they call themselves Disco Steel. From their name Dinson. We went there. It's huge.
Where is it located for some who might not?
Manize. I think Manize in Tapinam Chief. I think Tatena, right? And then you go through a dusty road. I'm not sure how many kilometers it is, but probably, dust road, no but probably it's about 15 kilometers. I'm not sure. But it's a dusty road. I think they say that they are working on tarring it because, the dust is just too much. But we went there and I actually witnessed the production of pig iron. Pig iron, which for me was something else. So production is actually happening there at Dinson of pig iron. They have recently started production of what they call steel billets, although they haven't commissioned it. Test runs to produce steel billets, but they have actually produced some billets. So you start with pig iron and then the steel billets, and then you send simbi dzatinoziva isusu dzatinoona dzedze. So things are happening at Manize, and you know what, they actually produce their own power. You would think with steel plant chichazoda power inobva kuzesa and magetsi ari kunetsa zvichazofamba sei. They only need zesa power as a backup or patriotica something else.
So zesa kwavari ndo generator ravo on standby.
I want to no generator ravo on standby. Otherwise their blast furnaces can actually produce their own power. Right now they are now producing about 70 megawatts.
Which is good enough for the plant.
For now, yes. So when they expand into other phases, because this was first phase, when they go to second phase, they're going to do another one. So they are likely to be producing their own power, because apart from the power that is produced through the blast furnaces, they are also planning to do windmill, and then they also power generation. They're also planning to do solar power generation as well. So they are because they were worried that once it's in full swing, it's gonna take all our power. It's just murima and the like. But it can actually produce its own power, which is also a good thing that is happening.
But Kudzie, just for the benefit of an ordinary Zimbabwean, manize still benefit yedu isusu senyika inoya papi.
It's massive. Tinashe ingofunga chikotasa nepawina apa anditi uchingotasa nepanza apa about still yauri kuona ese simbi dzese dzauri kuona panza apa dzese dziri kuimportwa idzi anditi. So imagine the savings. Any construction, we are talking about construction everywhere, and we are seeing it both from a government side.
Mazono takuona ma warehouse and ma
yes, and imagine all those that steel is being imported, and now all that steel will be made here in Zimbabwe. And they initially they want to start with 600,000 tons of steel. Imagine the job creation. Even purchase direct job creation. They're talking of almost 40,000. Chimagina ma jobs acha create kwa vamwe vakutengesa vari kunana CSO vamwe makambani akambenga avhare steel, all these steel companies.
Some being exported?
Some, yes, massively, obviously exports, because I think they are going to go up to 2 million, 5 million, I'm not sure. Let me not, but the initial phase is 600,000 tons. I know about 1.2 million tons. Can't remember what the final stage. So this is massive development. The industries that are going to be created and the export earnings that we are going to make as a country.
There's a question on WhatsApp, Kudzie. It says, Kudzie, where is Disco Steel Plant getting their iron ore?
In Zimbabwe. So they are going to be mining iron ore. Some of them, I think, what's the name? Buchwa, or is it Bushwa. You know the place. That's I think that. Yeah. So they actually my resources or my raw materials avachashandisa to produce. They are coming from 3 provinces: Mash West, Mash East, Mashingo, and Midlands. Okay, so it's actually 4 provinces. So that's where they'll be getting limestone as well. Limestone, they'll be getting limestone, which maningacho they can actually use them to cement or limestone. And then they've also chrome, which remember Dinsona is in Zimbabwe. They actually have they produce chrome. I think they are the biggest chrome producer in Zimbabwe through Afroshin. Then they also have a where they are making the coke oven batteries. I might get the name incorrect, but they've got a coal mine where they are making coke again. So this is their 3rd investment in Zimbabwe, and they've since invested, well, we are told about $1.3 billion. For now, they imported most of the steel, the iron that they are using, but they were actually fabricating. They've got a fabrication plant there where they were fabricating all this steel into the actual structures. So, which is again massive.
So how has this Manize plant contributed to the employment of the local the local community of the Manize village in Chirumanzi district?
Yeah, I didn't get the actual number of those who were, but you were saying, he was asked that question. He said, well, yes, we have recruited from within the community, but it's all over Zimbabwe. We've got people coming from a lot of places. And one of them that I spoke to, Anonzi, maybe Anagononga Chitere, Anonzi Tambudzai Dube, she said that she is the first female mobile crane operator in Zimbabwe. A lady, yes, who is operating their mobile crane there in Manize. And she has got a story to tell in terms of how she has done it. And she said she was actually part of the Tambudzai Dube. She's 27 years old, and she has been operating a crane for the past 5 years. And she was part of the team that built the Wange Power Station 7 and 8.
Unit 7 and 8.
Unit 7 and 8, yes.
Okay. So there's a question as well on WhatsApp, says that what happens to our scrap steel? Is that not an opportunity we are missing as a country?
It's just as a country, Zimbabweans, we are the ones who are missing on scrap steel. Nezuro ndandiri ku Glenview. Vandaona ndichitaura nomumwe mufesi papapfuura mamwe mafesi vandabvunza iwe mafesi aenda apa zvikanzi shamwari mafesi kuti ndoite kupakistan handiti vari kugara kuglenview koko hanzi vanogara vari 15 padeni pacho ndikati vari kuita nezvei muglenview zvikanzi vari apo ukoko unoziva kuarea 8 opposite area 8 opposite mashwede vari kutora scrap yaya vachitogadzira nayo simbi all the way from Pakistan. Isusu tirimo zvedu tichingotaura paredhiyo ende vamwe vanotoita vachitogadzira simbi nescrap yedu isusu. So they are there all the way from Pakistan. Vari kugara kuglenview uko but vari kutogadzira simbi paarea yaya iri opposite mashwede.
Okay, another question is 2 minutes before we out. Anzi, is there a win-win resource sharing like the Invictus deal, 35-65 profit sharing?
I haven't heard about how profits are going to be shared for now. Maybe something that's a homework for me that I will need to ask the crew at or the management at Manise, Mr. Motsize, to find out whether there's any profit sharing agreement. But for now, we know that there's job creation, there are taxes that are going to be paid, there are export earnings that are going to be made.
All right, I don't know if you've got figures to this question, but says how many tons per annum are they processing? Zisco once did 750,000 tons per annum.
Vari totaura zvemamillions ava. Remember nambotaura 600,000 tons per first phase, but I know again about 1.2, but I know it's more than that. It's more than that. Homework for me as well. Figure racho rangonditiza, but rinogara richitotaurwa actually every day how much the capacity yavo yavarida kuproducer of steel, but it's massive.
Okay, Kudzie, thank you so much for Business Focus. Would have wanted to discuss other things as well, but our time is up now for today. But thanks for that update from Manise Steel Plant. We appreciate. We'll discuss more tomorrow. Thank you for today.
Thank you, Tinashe.